on me. Hi, Yao.
Kadira stepped in and stepped out.
Hi.
How are you guys?
How are you? Good.
Good.
跟老师说，
I see Nora and Maggie's moms are on.
你是全部出来。
It was so nice to like see all these familiar faces in our big parent orientation. Just letting people in. I just thought this would be kind of nice for our class just to have a separate little parent Zoom. That way you guys can answer or ask more specific questions that are kind of more just geared for our class. And I can share out any other information and try my best to answer any questions I can. I know there's still a lot of unknown that I'm trying to figure out as well. So I try to be pretty good about once I get information of sharing it out with you guys. So I will continue to try to do that. After this one, this Zoom, I'm gonna send out this, a Padlet, and it's gonna be our like parent info center. So I'm gonna always continue to add information there throughout the year. So once that we finish this one, I'll send out the Padlet, and that will kind of let you kind of browse what information I have on there so far, and I'm continuing to add on to it. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself. This is a pretty small group, so you can just unmute yourself if you have any questions you'd like to ask. Hi, Gabby. Good to see you, sweetie.
Miss Coley?
Yeah.
Thanks for the other presentation. That was really great. It was a lot of good information. So can you talk a little bit about what, I know that you mentioned in the meeting that that daily schedule may change, that it's still sort of being worked. Can you talk a little bit about how much contact time the kids are going to have with you in a live version versus how much independent learning there's going to be during the day?
Absolutely.
Kind of went quickly.
So our goal is that this first week of school, we are trying to like to go slow into doing everything that we're going to do, because we just want these kids to get acclimated into this new situation. So this first week of school might look just a little bit different just because we're trying to gradually get everybody in, and also not all students might not have technology for that start. So again, that first week might look a little different, but we will start every single day off with a whole group morning meeting. It'll start at 8:30, the start of school. So this will be whole group with me. We're gonna kind of do morning meeting activities, kind of just get a chance to talk and share with each other. I'll kind of get to share with them the schedule and plan for the day. So that'll be kind of just a nice time for us all to be together in the morning. We'll do a little bit of some phonemic and phonics practice with each other as whole group. But as I was thinking about the day, I really want to make this whole virtual learning experience something that's going to be really beneficial for all students. I want them to gain from this. And I was thinking about our age level of second graders and their attention and all of that stuff you have to keep in mind. And I thought that I could make a bigger impact if we do more small group than doing all of our lessons whole group, because I just feel like it's easier for students to kind of get lost in a whole group setting. It'll be a little difficult for me to manage a whole class group setting if I want to teach some new content. So I was like thinking I'd rather teach the same lesson multiple times in smaller groups to make sure that they are comprehending this information and it's getting through, rather than maybe like losing some kids through small groups or whole groups, I'm sorry. So I'm going to do, once we kind of get started and we're all getting comfortable, they're going to be kind of put in some different groups, and this will be kind of nice way for me to differentiate. We have a lot of different levels in our classroom, so it'll be kind of nice for me to kind of gear it to what each group level needs. So what basically, and I'm also trying to be cognizant of screen time. So we try to build in breaks throughout the day. I try to be flexible. I know your parents' schedules and everyone's house just looks so much different from each other. So I want to make sure that we can create a schedule that works for all of us, because I know some of you are working during this time and you don't have the opportunity to have 100% focus on your kid during this time. So again, after this, I'll kind of share with you, you know what, I can just kind of share now. This is tentative, but let me pull it up. see if I can share my screen, just so you can kind of get a little bit of idea about first week. Again, once we kind of all get comfortable with this, it is going to change a little bit because we'll be kind of diving deeper into our small groups. But this will be something that will be housed for us in Seesaw. This is not finished or finalized. It's just a little bit of a work in progress right now. But just so you can see, so this will be housed in Schoology. And in that little parent handbook that I made and I shared out, and it will be on the Padlet after this meeting, I created a little video of my Schoology homepage. So you can watch that video and kind of just see what it looks like, how they get here, and what it's for. But this will be kind of like what our schedule, kind of like the template of it will look like. So every day we have our morning meeting. They'll click the live button and it'll be our whole class. Then after our whole class morning meeting, typically is when we're going to start breaking out into small groups. And if you're not in a small group at that time, you'll be doing some independent work. So I'm fortunate enough to be looping, and I know my kids are super awesome at using Seesaw. So we will have some different Seesaw activities throughout the day. Every day after lunch, I want to do a check-in with them. So after lunch, lunch ends at 12:50, but I know some families might be going to the school to grab their lunches, and I want to try to give them time to come back. So 1 o'clock, kids will get back on live as a whole group. We'll kind of do a little bit of activities, check in how we're feeling, how our morning went, do a little bit of like a mini lesson whole group, and then we'll kind of get ready for the afternoon. So that's just a little bit of what it'll look like. While I have my screen shared, this is what our parent Padlet will look like. I just created this the other day, so I'm still adding everything to it. So that's why it looks a little bit bare. But this right here, the virtual platforms, I kind of just described all the platforms that we'll be using. I know these are new to all of us, so we might say the name Schoology or Clever, and you might be like, okay, what is that? So if you click on this one, it kind of gives a little description of each one. And then this is that parent handbook where I told you that little video was going to be. Throughout the year, I can post our newsletters here. After we get the recordings of our first meeting and then this one, I'll put those videos down here for you, so those families that weren't able to come can watch, or if you need to watch it back. I'm also been working on creating video tutorials of all the things that we're using with this digital learning. So I'm going to put all the videos I've been making here. I have a little second grade parent packet, kind of similar to the one we did in first grade, but a little different, of course. Will be housed there. So this will be available to you throughout the entire school year. And I'll just continue to keep adding resources in there for you. That was a good question, though. I know that's something that's on everybody's mind, is what is a day going to look like? And our motto is that we're going to start slow and gradually build up our stamina to what we need to do. Is there any other questions? Thank you. I just saw the chat.
I'm kind of jealous of how techy you are.
You know what? I never thought I was super good with tech until this summer, and I'm like, wait, I actually am better than I thought.
What's the platform for the videos, like for the live lessons that you guys are using?
Great question. So our district wants us to start using this tool called Teams.
Okay.
I am new to Teams. I know when I spoke with some of our families, some of the parents here have used Teams for work, and they said it's pretty easy. So I am learning that. But on that little visual schedule I just showed you guys, I have everything linked. So the students would be able to just click that little live button and it will pop up their, the video meeting. So I'm trying to make this as simple and easy for parents and families, so that I know some of your kids will be with grandparents or daycare. So I just want to make it as like simple as possible for everybody. So I heard Teams is a really good one. So I am learning how to make it simple for a second grader. So I think that's what we'll be using. If by chance we have like big problems with it or it's not working for any of us, we can maybe switch back to Zoom, but I know our district kind of is giving us a push to use Teams. Is there any other questions we have? Go ahead.
So the daily schedule that you talked about, they would access that by going into Clever. So is like Clever going to be the place that we go into each day? Is that what it's going to be? Start out there and that will tell you where to go?
Let me show you. I know it's kind of confusing. There's so many new things. So I'll kind of show you. I don't think my classes are not, like my students aren't fully loaded into My Clever or Schoology yet, which is why I haven't sent you out their logins, is because I don't have them yet. So as soon as I get them, I'll send them. But I'll show you what My Clever looks like just so you can kind of get an idea of what it is. Let me pull up mine. It's kind of cool. At first, all of us teachers were like, oh my gosh, there's so many new learning things we're figuring out. But now that I've had some time to explore with it, I think it'll be kind of cool. Okay, so this is what My Clever looks like. So students' version might look a little bit different, but I kind of think of it like this. So Clever is how you access any other platform we use. So if they need to get to Schoology, log into Clever, there's Schoology. Once they click Schoology, they're automatically logged in. So it's kind of like Clever's nice because it's kind of like a one-stop login. Once they're logged into Clever, they can access any of our other platforms. So if they need to get to Seesaw, they just click it, they'll go straight into Seesaw, which is pretty nice. We're gonna be starting later with this new platform that's kind of doing testing. We're not starting that one yet, but whenever we start it, they'll be automatically logged in. So once they click that, they're automatically logged in. So I'll show you what my Schoology looks like so far. So every day, students will log into Clever, they'll click Schoology, and then this is where it will be. So I'll show you what ours looks like. So when they log on and they click into our English Language Arts class, and I'm just having them, when they click on, they might see a bunch of different courses. And I figured that's too confusing for a second grader to figure out what to click. So I'm just gonna house everything in our English Language Arts. That way they won't have to worry about being in the right course. So up at the top, I made like a virtual Bitmoji classroom that has a bunch of different resources. And I'm gonna be posting a video in the Padlet describing what's all in my Bitmoji classroom. All of these things are clickable links. So if they were already in Schoology and they needed to go to Epic or Seesaw, they could just click that also. I made a little virtual library for them. So if they don't have tons of books at home, we have a virtual library. If they scroll down, I have a little weekly schedule button. So that schedule that you saw in the first presentation, you can click this button, it'll take you to it. This parent info will take you straight to the Padlet that I created. And then I just also tagged the district calendar in case you need to see any dates. And so this is where they're going to be doing the classwork. So I kind of try to break it up into the different weeks of remote learning. So every day students log into Clever, click Schoology, they'll scroll down to week 1. There's a folder for each day. So if it's Tuesday, they'll click the Tuesday button, click it one more time, and out will pop their schedule. Then all they'll have to do is just click all the little pictures and it'll take them directly to where they need to go. So if they have media, which they'll have media on the first day of school, they'll click the media teacher's, Ms. Snyder's Bitmoji, and I'll take them straight to whatever she's doing for media class. So I try to set it up like if they're doing Zearn, which I know most of my students are pretty familiar with, which is like a math online system, which links directly to our math curriculum, which is Eureka. I even put a little timer they can click to play so they know how long they need to be on there for, and it'll kind of go off when they're done. So I'm trying to make this as easy as it possibly can. It's been a long summer trying to figure this stuff out, but I know throughout the school year, we'll kind of always be in contact with each other, and you guys can give me feedback and saying, hey, Ms. Cooley, this part of it's not really working. Can you switch up this? And I mean, I am so open and receptive to any advice and feedback I get from you guys. We're a team, we're in this together. So we'll just kind of keep it open and make this as easy as it possibly can. But yeah, so they'll log into Clever, then they can click Schoology and get to their daily assignments. So it's like Clever, Schoology, and everything else, if that makes any sense.
Is there going to be any assignments in Schoology, or are the assignments mostly in Seesaw?
So for right now, starting off, I'm going to just have them use, like their assignments are mostly going to be in Seesaw, just
Okay.
to kind of start us off, because I don't want to be too overwhelming to them with all these new
Yeah.
things. And my class is so familiar with Seesaw, and so I'm lucky for that. I know not all teachers have classes that are familiar with it. So I figure out that's something that they know and they feel confident in. So we'll start with mostly all of our activities in Seesaw, and then we'll probably gradually build into maybe having some of our assignments through Schoology. We'll just kind of play around with it to see what works best for them, I'm thinking.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm on day 3 of remote learning with kindergarten. And so for the parents, it's getting easier every single day. Every day it's a new experience and it's a better experience each day. And for you, Anissa, it gets better every day too. We are
Well,
looking
good to know.
together because we are. So, you know, I've been troubleshooting a lot of, you know, just different things with the parents. But I love that, you know, Cleveland as well as Shaker has made it so that the platforms are very similar for each of the grades. So if you have multiple children, it's a very, you know, helpful way to go about navigating through this new learning for us. So, so thanks for all you're doing, Anissa.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Is there any other questions? No question's a bad question.
Can I ask? Okay, I do have one more question.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand. So, like, when the kids are gonna have their like small group learning, is it a case that, like, how will she know that that's what she's doing at that time? Because
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so we have more than one person that's going to be with her. So some days she will be at her babysitter's, and then other days she'll be with like family. So I just want to make sure that I can communicate to them. Like, I know they're going to ask about schedules and whatnot. And I just want to make sure I know how to kind of navigate that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I've been trying to figure out as well, is because I want it to be pretty clear for each group of when they're logging on. So I have a couple things that I'm going to be kind of trying out. And if there's like a parent or student that might be willing to have me do a little trial of how it works, shoot me a message, because I have this idea, but I want to see if it works first on the student end. So I might be reaching out to some of you in a little bit. But so that with that schedule that I created, I can actually individually assign to different kids. So what I was thinking is that, let's say you're in group 1 or whatever it'll be called. You might have a different schedule time, like when you go into Schoology, than someone else. So it'll be built in the time into one of those boxes. Let me just pull it up because it'll be easier to explain than me trying to explain in the air. Okay. So if I go into week 1, and they go to their visual schedule for the day, my thought is for each group would kind of have like an individually assigned schedule. So it wouldn't be like me just sending the same exact one through all groups, even though they'll have the same assignments, whatever their small group meeting time might be placed in a different spot. So like maybe in spot 3, it'll say small group, group A time, and it'll have the time all written on there. That way, wherever they are for learning, where, you know, whoever they're with, their small group time will be listed on their daily schedule already for them. I also just discovered today through Teams is that I can like just automatically call that student. So it kind of pops up on your screen like a FaceTime call. So if they're on their like screen working on their independent work, it'll kind of just pop up that Miss Coley's calling you, and they can just automatically click on and it'll open up into that one. So in case they forget that it's time for a small group, or, you know, whoever they're with is not on them, like, oh, you have a small group at this time, it'll just look like I'm FaceTiming you and getting a call. So that way they can just click. My friend and I discovered that today, and we were like, this is so nice. Because I was a little bit worried about how they were going to know when small groups were. So I think with me putting it in their individual schedule, and then also having that feature of me being able to just kind of call on whatever screen they're on, might help with that, hopefully.
Well, it looks amazing.
Right.
I'm thoroughly impressed because I have been also navigating some of these tools, and I can say, like, I'm like, holy cow, this is phenomenal. I know it's intimidating looking at it all, but it looks amazing. So great job.
I've lost a lot of sleep over this, so thank you. But I know this is all super overwhelming, because it was our first week back as teachers, I will tell you, was super overwhelming, and we were all freaking out a little bit. But we are really lucky to be at Campus International. Miss Spears has constantly made us just feel really comfortable in where we are and not trying to stress us out. Our team of teachers at campus has just been super supportive through everything. So I know it all looks really like a lot, like I just shared with you, like I kind of just vomited out all this different information, but I promise you, when we get in, my goal is to make this very clear of what their expectations are, what they need to do, and how they need to navigate it. So hopefully that will ring true. And if it doesn't, we'll go back to the drawing board and make it even clearer and simpler. Is there any other questions about our school day? I know one thing we didn't touch on in the other meeting, probably because we're not 100% sure of what it looks like, is that Wednesday, which is going to be called like a flex day. We're still figuring out what that completely will look like. For this first week, it might kind of look, I think I'm going to have my Wednesday look the same as my other days this first week back, just so we can have some consistency. But moving on in the future, we'll always keep that morning meeting first thing. I think it's a really great way for me to touch base with them, for them to see each other and their classmates, because I know they are missing their friends so much. So I think us always starting with our class group like huddle will be really nice for all of us. So they'll always have that every day of the week. And I know Ms. Spears has a lot of really cool ideas about different clubs and stuff for that Wednesday flex day, which I know they'll be rolling out in a little bit. But for that first week, we'll make that Wednesday just look like every other day that week. That way we're all on the same page. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I'll keep communicating with you guys through Seesaw. I think I shared my cell phone number with everybody on Seesaw, but if you don't have it, just message me, because I am available anytime. If you need to send me a quick text or call, please don't hesitate. It's totally fine. But as soon as I keep getting more information, I'll just kind of keep sending it out to you. And I'll send right after this meeting, I'll send out that Padlet, because you can kind of look and explore on there, and I'm continuing to add on there this week. So hopefully that will be like a good center for you guys. I'm trying to figure out the best way for me to send their individual login information. So I'm trying to have that done by Friday, but I'm hoping my classes will all be logged in there. I'm still waiting for them. I think this is a district level problem, but for them to add all my students into my courses. So hopefully that's soon. If anybody also has any great ideas about, I really want the students to feel connected to each other through this all. And I'm going to do my best during their school days to make them connected with each other, and whether that's doing some different group projects or whatnot. That way they can still feel like we're part of a class, and they see and get to interact with each other more. So if you happen to think of any great ideas that we can all do together as a class, feel free to send them my way. I am very open to ideas here. But if that's it, if no one has any more questions, I guess we can go ahead and end it. Again, if you have more questions, text me, message me on Seesaw, and I will try to answer them and send you more information as much as I can. I know it's got to be frustrating as a